Hey, Nico here for Kamerastore.com, and today we're going to be going over the top 10 Leica cameras of 2020. At the very beginning of the list, number 10, we have the M4-P camera, and as everyone knows, it's the camera that came after the M4-II, which came over to kind of rescue Leica after the M5. And it basically added 28mm frame lines and 75mm frame lines. It has the red dot, which is very easy to recognize, and basically is an M4 with, a couple minor changes, but is the camera that helped the company continue, so it's number 10. Number 9 is the Leica IIIa, which is an LTM Leica thread mount M39 screw lens mount. And it's the camera that added 1/1000 of a second. They're smaller bodies. They're actually quite loved by the Leica community as the Barnack cameras, and much smaller footprint and actually very nice mechanical cameras. And then in number 8 we have the 3G, which was the latest version of the LTM cameras that came with fixed frame lines. It came with parallax correction and frame lines for 50 and 90 that were always visible. And that was the camera that actually was sold at the same time as the Leica M3 to give you a time frame of when it came out. So it's one of the most requested cameras of the Leica Barnacks. At number 7, we have the Leica Minilux, the only point and shoot on the list, with a 40mm 2.4 lens, and it's probably the highest end Leica point and shoot, and is up there with the Contax T2s and so on. So it's strange for it to be one of the most searched Leica cameras, being the premium point and shoot. And number 6 is the Leica M4, which introduced a couple of changes from the more traditional M2 and M3, which is the rapid rewind, the plastic tab for advancing. It has the also rapid or quick loading on the camera, and is also, for many Leica enthusiasts, the last great mechanical Leica before the M5 and the so on cameras. Then we have the Leica CL, which is probably one of the strangest cameras on the Leica lineup as the M5. It's extremely small. It doesn't really feel so much like a Leica M camera. It's sold and was made in partnership with Minolta, and Minolta did their CLE. It does have a light meter, which is interesting. It has a different shutter dial on the front. It came with a set of lenses that supposedly wouldn't work with the Leica M cameras, but do, like the 40mm f2. Number 4 is the Leica MP, and not the first MP, but the second MP, which is also considered mechanical perfection, MP, and it has a light meter, but it's fully mechanical. It has the older style M3, M2 advanced lever and rewind knob. It has the self-zeroing frame counter like the M3, and is currently still sold, and for many, the best Leica camera you could buy today. At number 3, we have the Leica M3, which was the first Leica M camera. The 3 actually stands out for the frame lines that were 50mm, 90mm, and 135. It has the 0.91 magnification, which is the longest rangefinder made by Leica, and actually works really nicely for longer lenses or lenses like the Noctilux. It only focuses at 1 meter, which some of the older lenses do too. So if you're looking for something that focuses a little less, you might want to go for a different Leica. At number 2, we have the M2, which actually came after the M3 and was made because people wanted to have 35mm frame lines. So it has 35mm frame lines 50 and 90, which became more popular than the 135 on the M3. But it lost the rangefinder 0.91 magnification and went down to 0.72, which to many was lesser of a rangefinder. Then we also don't have the automatically zeroing frame counter on the camera, and it basically still is a great option if you're wanting to use a 35mm lens with your Leica and don't mind not using a light meter. And number 1 is the Leica M6, which is probably, of course, everybody's favorite camera nowadays. It currently has a light meter. It's fully mechanical. It has zeroing frame counter like the M3 and the MP. It has the rapid rewind, and the light meter actually works very nice. It reads off the film shutter, so basically it works with any lens, including wide angles. And also, most of the hype probably comes from content creators using it around the world because it's, doesn't have that red dot like the M4 M4-P and is usually sold in black, which a lot of people like that black camera, and that is why probably it's the most searched Leica. So that's the top 10 Leica cameras of 2020 from Kamerastore.com. Let me know what you think on the comments. Is there a camera you think is missing? You think a camera shouldn't be on this list? Let us know. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.